Hello, punters, and welcome back to another episode of NRL Unpopular Opinions. I am your host, Ryan Cook. We're a man down this week. Liam Fogarty is away getting some teeth yanked.
Trimmed the fat, didn't we?
Yeah, we had to do it eventually.
What are you saying? His fat's in his teeth.
Jesus.
He didn't have a lot of.
Then he needs to get them out.
He didn't have a lot of wisdom, but he's got even less now because his wisdom teeth are out.
Yeah, I knew that was a joke. As I was driving in, I was like, there's something there.
Walked straight into it. He's still waiting for the Sharks to set up a field goal to Oscar Patterson.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh, that was a long game. That was a long game.
Long multi for us too.
Yeah, far out.
Whenever you guys are ready to grow some balls and
get serious with it,
and
hey, speak for yourself. Please.
No. I'm talking about value. I'm talking about value.
Yeah.
Let's grow some nuts.
Dan, you've heard him already. It's Jharal, you.
Yeah, 255, the Bronx last week, Thursday night, just before Anzac Day, put on a clinic, the boys did. 34-0 at halftime, the Brisbane Broncos. I don't think anyone saw that coming. I did. I knew they were up for it and ready to go, so pretty stoked, and we'll probably touch on that a little bit later.
The prophet, they're calling you. Yeah. The fan mail is just rolling in saying, give us more Jharal tips.
Yeah, well, you can have me, guys.
Bronx into Gamut. I think, that was paying all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did, yes.
Yeah, open groups?
Yeah, open groups, yeah. And I signed off for the weekend because I was like, I don't want to ruin my weekend.
Post the bets and just close the chat.
Yeah, close the chat.
Don't look at the feedback.
Bank the units.
That leads us into our first topic. Let's talk about the Broncos, that bounce back win. Probably one of the best halves of footy they've played all year. It was a very wet track, of course, and the Dogs were very flat in their first game outside of Sydney. Jharal, what did you make overall of the Broncos? What did you make of Cobbo at fullback? And there's also been a bit of chat about Reno training in the red shirt yesterday. It sounds like he's playing this week. Can you give us a bit of insight here?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. There's always a good sign when he's still in the side, and I was lucky enough to be there for a small amount of time yesterday. But look, when he's in a red bib, it just means no contact. So they'll just be putting him in a little bit of cotton wool this early in the year, which is probably normal for Reno. He's getting to the back of his career now, where any chance you get, you just want to make sure you're getting through the week. So yeah. Mate, that's probably the best footy I've seen, best half of footy, and probably the most touches and the best touches he's had this year by far. He looked really good, and I think it's brought up a few conversations of are we starting to see the best of Adam Reynolds at the back end of his career? Well, we've got to put both halves together, and he did hurt himself, but he complemented the team very well, which gave other opportunities from other players just to do what they needed to do. And you talked about Cobbo at fullback. He didn't do anything crazy, exciting, I think he just ran the ball, and he would have been told, especially in the wet, and it was very muddy there at Suncorp Stadium, so there's no need to throw passes or doing it. He did set up Gemma Shibasaki with a ridiculous ball. Probably didn't need to throw that pass the way he did, but that's the reason why he was playing in that position, and he's come out, only just recently and said, it's his favourite position to play, and he played most of his juniors there. So, look, it's not a bad thing. Another bit of rivalry inside, healthy competition, I could say, inside the Broncos. And if there's stuff like that, you're going to play your best footy. So very good from the Broncos last week.
What do you think that does for his contract talk now that he's come out and he showed he can? Well, he showed it before, but that's probably his most convincing game at fullback. And we obviously know he's a talent. Do you think it makes it harder for the Broncos to keep him?
Oh, definitely. There'll be people who already knew that he could play the fullback role, but I think the other thing you've got to understand is he's been playing in this team for a while now, so he feels comfortable with the players around him as well. And look, I like I said, I think he's personally right now, I think his best position is on the wing. If he plays consistent footy at fullback, then we're probably going to see him play his best footy at the fullback position. But we've got a kid here at the Brisbane Broncos who likes to chance his arm a lot, and that's Reece Walsh. And I'm sure when he gets back into the side, if he doesn't produce, then there's a bit of a drama, isn't there? So yeah, I'm sure that Walsh is doing everything he possibly can to get himself right when he comes back. But at the moment, Selwyn's playing good.
Oscar, what did you take away from the Bronx? Now sitting 5th on the ladder, pretty close to edging back into the top 4. Are you glass half full, I imagine?
Yeah, I think we even spoke last week, like it was by no means panic stations. The fact that they were dropping a game here and there on the back of, some really poor, basic errors from guys like Walshy and Dozer last week. Yeah, they're doing all the little things right, I think, for the most part. And they've got two key contributors to their attacks on the sidelines at the moment in Ezra and Reese, who are going to be coming back over the next month or so. So I think what the rest of the team is doing around them, the yardage game is great. I think what Willison's doing, that dude, I think I said Ali Leotau was a problem for the Wars.
Yeah.
Willison's rugby league problem too. To be able to play 80 minutes on an edge or be just as effective in the middle in 15, 20 minute stints. He can do some things. That bounce dropped underneath and then bounce back on the overs to get on the outside shoulder of Sexton, I think it was. Yeah, that was good footy. And then, the Cobbo quote for me was interesting at this, the timing of it. Plays one, gets his shot at fullback. Everyone's talking about contract situations with the Broncos at the moment. And then Cobbo's happy to come out and say, that is my preferred position. That's where I want to play. I'm just leaving it up to my manager at the moment.
It's a spanner in the works, isn't it?
To me, it sounds like if I had to make a call based on that, I would say Cobbo's probably going to end up somewhere else. We've been talking about for ages. Cobbo, Walsh, Staggs, going to be hard to keep all of them, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Where does Selwyn go, though? Because I prefer... From knowing him, I don't think he would want to move away far from his family.
Well, part of that quote that he was happy being quoted on was, I don't really mind where I go. I'll still fly back to Cherbourg to see my family whenever I can anyway. So the location doesn't bother with something along those lines.
Money talks, doesn't it? So...
Might.
Chooks.
Maybe.
Chooks. Perth.
Perth, Perth not bad. Well, that's a long way to fly to Cherbourg. Maybe not Perth. Yeah. We'll get there though.
The team the Bronx are playing, we are at Magic Round all of a sudden too. Bronx playing the Panthers on Sunday afternoon.
Such a good matchup.
It's going to be great. Bizza is a chance to be back for the Panthers from what I read this morning. But Penrith sitting bottom of the ladder. I don't think anyone had this on the bingo card, did they?
Nope.
Just looks like they're just missing a lot of grunt up forward. That loss to Manly on Saturday was another game where it just wasn't very inspiring, and we're 8 weeks into the season now, and I do think it's time for us to say we could maybe panic about them not playing finals. But the bookies aren't reacting just yet. You can still take $15 for Penrith to win the premiership.
Jeez.
So they're being cautious. Are you boys?
No, I think they're done.
They're not going to win the comp.
Yeah. Well, I don't. There's a huge chance they're not even going to make the 8 at this stage.
It's tough ground to make up.
It's huge. They've probably got how many games? 16 left.
Yep.
16 in the year. They've probably got to win 14.
Yeah.
14 of them.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go on their best run, in games. So they're going to have to. If they lose on Sunday against the Brisbane Broncos, it's over. Yeah. I just don't think they can. Unfortunately, it's finally fallen for them after 5 years of being this team that everyone just struggled to beat. I think. I mean, is there any stats around the drum with all the head highs? Are they? How far are they up in that? Have they given away a lot of penalties? Have they had send-offs?
They had 2 sin bins on the weekend.
Yeah. Do they? Is that something that's affected them? I mean, because
consistently this year they've made 10 plus errors and conceded 10 plus penalties in games. And I think the 2 times that they haven't, the 2 games where they've made less than 10 errors, they're 1-1.
Yeah.
And I think the other one they might have been that close one they should have won. They didn't find that pass in the backfield. It's the pattern has been they're conceding a try inside the first 10 or 5 minutes in every single game this year. So right from the get-go, they're playing catch-up footy, which is exactly what they've done to their opposition over the dynasty period. Apply scoreboard pressure. They don't need to be the most efficient attacking team. We're seeing it now. They're getting heaps of good ball, and Cleary's taking 4 or 5 touches a set, getting jammed by Chanel Harris-Savita from the inside one week and then Cohen Hess the next. they've never been the most efficient attacking team in good ball, but they spend so much time down there and they hold the ball. They spend so much time with the ball in their hands that eventually they just suffocate you out of contest and the points always come late. That's happening to them now. They're playing catch-up footy. They got a lot of young guys in there that are feeling the pressure that they haven't really felt for the last 4 or 5 years. And yeah, it's just errors for me. If they can cut down their errors in this one, I think that's the only way. Like, that's why I think it's such an interesting matchup here. Jharal, I think you're right. If they lose this one, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes without saying, every loss that they cop it makes it all the more difficult to make it into finals. But against a Broncos team that's full of confidence at Suncorp Stadium, magic round, it's as much as a make and break as you can get for Penrith, and it's simple for them. They've just got a complete high. Cleary's got to kick to corners, and they need to defend better. If they can do that, they're a chance.
Do you think they have the personnel to turn this around? Because sort of what you're talking about there is over the last 4 years, they'd win a lot of games, like 12-4.
Yep.
Very gritty, kind of grinded out games.
Yep.
But this year, that just hasn't been the case.
Because they haven't been able to defend as well as they have, And I think that is a bit of a cattle thing. Guys like, I mean, we don't need to pick out names, but both their edges have been chopping and changing all season. Isaac Tungo was dropped back to the bench last week because of how poor he was defensively the week before. And he, at the moment, is their most experienced player in the back line. So that's one example to highlight. Yeah, you're 100. I think it is a personnel thing. They're missing Mitch Kenny in the middle. They missed him last week.
It's crazy to think that a team as good as them can fall off
so dramatically.
Team known for their depth as well.
Like I mean, it happened even when they went 3 in a row. We're like, it's not going to happen. When they lost that grand final and they went 2 in a row. And they went 3 in a row. We're like, well, they've got to fall off soon. Then they went 4 in a row, and then we're thinking, I never thought that we would see this after 8 rounds that they would be sitting last.
Yep.
If we had a crystal ball to say that they were going to be they were coming last in round 8, I think we'd all be like laughing here.
100 to 1.
1 and 7 from the first 8 games.
And it's going to be interesting. Like, this is probably the most pressure they've had in a long time about in this context, because we've seen them have pressure about probably making the top 4, but not really falling out of the top 8 or sitting last. I mean, what would they have been paying to finish last this year?
Millions.
I don't know.
Like,
I wish I put
it's
my
only
lunch money on
501. You can only get 500 to 1, really.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So that's crazy. I mean, if someone has jumped on that at some stage,
I'm sure someone has out there. Yeah.
I'd love to know what the chat is like internally. Like, I think, as you said, Jharal, the drop off has been so dramatic. I think that's probably the most shocking part about it, and I think it's got a lot to do with the style of footy that they played. Yeah. If it requires, as we said, it requires high concentration, high completions, high connection in your defensive line for 80 minutes. Like, it's a simple system, but it's difficult to replicate and to reproduce week to week to week to week to week, right?
Yeah.
And I think they've lost 2 guys in Fish and Luai who are probably really integral to that system. Fish getting through so much work in defence, and Luai being a sound 3-man as well defensively, and then just a really nice foil for Cleary. Like, is Ivan sitting there with his coaching staff saying, hey, do we need to change our systems to better suit the cattle we've got now? Or does he know that system wins you comps? So for him, it's just, all right, we've just got to slowly and gradually mould this team.
Stay the course kind of thing.
To get to that system, because I'm not throwing away a system that I know works, even if it takes us a while.
But when do they go, well, we have to? Because if they keep...
That's what I mean.
That's
it's so interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I'd love to know what that chat's like.
Oh, when does he... if it doesn't start to work, when do they
change it up?
When do they tap him? Like,
I've seen some chat online.
Do you know what I mean?
That.
No, it sounds crazy, and this clip this, because this could be crazy, right? But if he gets to the end of the year and they finish in the bottom 3, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that. But
Adam O'Brien has entered the chat.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I know. Like, this is what happens. This is what happens. It's like, it's obviously he's had some great coaching over his years, but if they literally finish in the bottom 3, I think there's a conversation of like, all right, well, you've given us the best 5 years of our life.
Is
Is it over? Do you know?
I wouldn't be making that call.
No, I don't think anyone wants to make that call. But it shows also that I don't think them playing out there in Penrith is really them struggling with it as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that before a ball was kicked.
Yeah,
Maybe
I just
that is
thought
a bigger factor.
I just thought that they were really going to struggle to get their core fans to get to Combank week in and week out.
Combank's flat.
It's like I just. And I seen on the sides of the thingy, it's not where we are, it's who we're with or something like that.
But there's no one there with them.
There's no one there with them. Like Penrith, I'm going to say it, Penrith are in a schmozzle at the moment.
A schmozzle, you
A
reckon?
schmozzle. They're in a
You
real.
press the panic button.
I think they're in a really bad spot, and I think that we've got some fresh prey on Sunday for the Brisbane Broncos to go. It's over.
What are the Bronx paying here? It's got to be
I think
$1.50 areas, surely.
$1.60, I think they were when I seen them.
That's still a little bit of value.
It is a little bit of value, but the matchup and the rivalry between these two will obviously have a bit of to say.
$1.65 as of Tuesday morning.
There
Take
you go.
that, wouldn't you?
You'd like to take that. I just think that if they lose this, the Penrith Panthers, I think you can put a Q in the rack.
Yeah, okay.
They might be fighting for a bottom three if they just because. Yeah, it's tough. Sorry, Penrith Panthers fans.
I reckon it'll come together, but I think it'll be too late. I can't see them finishing bottom four with the calibre of players they've got. Like a team with Isaiah Yeo, Liam Martin, Dylan Edwards, Nathan Cleary, Brian To'o, that doesn't finish.
But I thought that as well when they come back,
Bottom four.
when he was coming back, and then they're just not clicking. Like
Well,
that.
clip this, and it can be yet another thing I've got horribly wrong if they
They're
finish
not
in the
clicking.
bottom four.
They're not clicking. And what happened to your Rabbitohs on the weekend?
Oh, running out of gas.
Playing in Melbourne, that's what happens.
Yeah, playing in Melbourne, running out of gas.
Latrell?
Latrell Mitchell obviously had a bit of work to do on the farm this week, so he was chasing a bit of time off.
What did he play? Fullback. See, I told you not to. I said don't change it.
You did say that.
I said don't change it, and look what they've done.
No, I don't want to jump. I don't want to add to the Latrell pile.
I don't want to add to it. I just think that Jai Gray is his position as fullback.
Well, he's there now. He'll play there this week, and
Yeah. Let's see if they bounce back.
We'll see what happens.
Wouldn't it be crazy if to see them?
do you know who we've got?
Who?
The Newcastle Knights.
Oh, if you can't lose to them, they're my wooden spooners.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about.
You just got to score more than 12 points.
That's what I was going to say. $1.70 for the Rabbits. That's
well,
good value too.
typically yes, but I'm worried about what Kalen will do to South's edges. They've been scrambling really, really well, but they've
We're all over the
they've
joint
also
with
been
six
broken.
signings.
Yeah.
Speaking of
It's a
fullback,
magic round.
It's yeah. You go, Ryan.
No, I was just going to say, you're the Blues fan on this panel.
Yeah.
Where are you at with the fullback chat? Are you
Yeah.
Edwards or Tedesco?
Can I throw a third option in
Yeah,
there?
go on.
Yeah, I'm
With my
happy.
friend Jharal?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's speculation at this point, but I think Ryan Pappenhausen's probably the front runner for the Blues.
He's
number one jumper.
he has put his resume forward this year, and he's playing good footy, great footy.
I think his line organisation at the back is something that's really difficult to get a feel for, like when we're watching as fans on the TV. But I think he's one of the best organising defensive fullbacks in the game. Look at how well Melbourne's defensive line is organised on their line. He's pass options far better than Edwards. There's so many things Edwards does better. There's pros and cons to both. But yeah, I wouldn't hate it if Pappy got his run, especially if Edwards is, battling injuries at the moment. So yeah, it's going to be
So you
interesting.
think he's done enough to throw out one of those incumbents that's...
Pappy?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a nuffy, but yeah, I think so. Rewind 3 years ago, New South Wales was losing our minds over the fact that we had Ryan Pappenhausen as our fullback, and then he had 3 years in a row where he got absolutely crippled. Yeah, I think there's still, like, I have him in Supercoach as a good example. There's still that lingering feeling every week. Oh, fuck, is he going to go down again now?
Yeah.
But I think that probably detracts from some people's opinions of just how good he is. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Isn't it
to see.
exciting, the fullback chat from both parties though in Origin, and it's going to come around very fast. But where does Queensland go?
Fogs is going to be so cut that we're talking.
What do you think,
I
Fox?
Good, it's good to see you as well.
We'll save it, eh?
Idiot, man.
Let's move on to the chat about this Perth team. WA Premier Roger Cook and PVL reaching an agreement to bring back the Bears in 2027.
Is it like signed, sealed, and delivered?
These things are always hard to know
Yeah.
because they get announced and then they backpedal. But
Yeah.
as far as I know, it is signed, sealed, and delivered.
to start in 27.
Yep.
2 years away. That's the
Yeah.
same year as PNG, no?
Yeah, I think so. PNG's 27. Yeah.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not a lot of time when you think about it.
No, it's not.
A fair bit to chat about here. First of all, we're going to pick some players that we think the Bears could target. And then also from a coaching standpoint, apparently Brad Arthur is up for a $5.5 million deal to come over and coach.
Yeah, I like that.
You like that for Arthur?
Yeah. I think he's got runs on the board building clubs. I think the way Parramatta fell off under him after that grand final, I think maybe kind of impacted his reputation. But yeah, he's a quality coach, and he's a development coach. He'll he might have the upside maybe of some other guys, but he's going to implement the right systems, the right practices, the right structures in there. So yeah, I like it. Plus, he's over in the UK at the moment, and I heard Justin Hotto made a great point on the Levels podcast. He's going to be seeing the best 5 to 10 UK-based players this season.
Good scouting.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to bring a few guys over when you're talking about talent depth in Australia. So yeah, I like it for BA.
Let's pick some players.
This is tough.
I'll let you guys have the floor here. You want to pick some forwards and some backs? Who would you be targeting if you're the coach of the Bears in the next 2 years?
I'll start because this was my idea, so I've already got my answers ready. Jharal, you can have a think. And Fogs will like this too because they're two Queenslanders. In the forwards, I would be hypothetically signing Tom Gilbert from the Finns. There's no chance he actually goes. I think he's actually their co-captain at the moment.
He is, yeah.
His injury made me forget how good he was. I was frothing on him 12 months ago, what he did when he first came into grade. And seeing the way he's come back from injury, what he does for the Dolphins, he can play middle, he can play edge. I think he'll be the starting back rower for Queensland this year. I think he's a very quality, he just works so hard. His line speed's good. His inside pressure's good. He makes smart decisions. He keeps his feet. He's mobile. He runs a mean line. He can do it all. So yeah, I like Tommy Gilbert. And in the backs, I'd grab Jackson Purdue from the North Queensland Cowboys.
Yeah.
19 years old, but he's handling the physicality really well in an unfamiliar position, a really technical position in centre, and he's not being spotted at all. Attacking upside, like he's getting so involved. He's their number one go-to now for Tommy and Scott Drinkwater down that left edge. And he can play fullback, he can play six, he can play centre. So, yeah, Purdue and Gilbert would be my two.
That's good.
Anything from you, Jharal?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking more of the spine and the halves. And, I mean, he's had an already great start to this season. I know they only re-signed him recently, but I'd be going after Katoa.
Yeah.
He's
been a hot name for
it. He has been a hot name. I mean, he's been playing good for them for a while now, and he's starting to really build into it. And, can you keep him around if they throw huge money? Perth, I don't know. That's probably the only person that I like in my brain I could think of you could build a side around because he's young. He finishes up in 3 years or something, 2 years. I think his contract is up and done.
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah, they re-signed him last year.
There's a chance there. He would probably be the closest when we talk about struggling to keep halves, and I would go after him. That's who I would go after because then you're going to get a lot of players interested. He's a kid who puts in the hard work. We can see that he's really adapting to the professionalism of the NRL, and I'd want him at the forefront. So he'd be my guy.
How important is it, do you think, to get someone that's a bit more of like a veteran status when you're starting a new club, like bringing over a Paps or like a Turbo or someone like that?
Yeah, well, I think you can.
Turbo's an interesting shout.
Yeah,
I think
throw money at him, Manly let him go on injury ground.
Yeah, I think you probably personally for me, I think experience would be more lent towards the forwards. That's what I would want because if you've got a young half behind you, then he knows what you want to do. But I think the big boys in the middle can always sort of a little bit like how the Dolphins did.
I was going to say that's exactly what the Finns did.
Yeah, how the Dolphins started off them. They didn't start off terrible. They just had inexperience throughout the squad where they couldn't, I suppose, capitalise on the first couple of years. But look at them now. That's their third year. The third year. Third year. This is the third year in the competition, and look how good they're playing footy now. So
and all the old guys that they signed are pretty much done.
Yeah.
But they've
laid a platform.
They got out of them what they needed to.
Correct. Yeah, they've just missed the top 8 a few times in their first couple of years, and now they're vying for their first finals footy. So I think it's important to have really experienced forwards. So I think that's where I would put my experience in.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're following a similar blueprint to the Finns, where they're going to throw money at a coach that's experienced and then recruit some younger players. Let's move on to look at the ladder. We've got the Wars and the Raiders sitting top 4, both facing pretty crucial games this weekend at Suncorp. Wars take on the Cows in a top 8 battle. Green Machine taking on the Storm on Sunday, which is always like a real close, hard-fought kind of rivalry game. That's a top 4 stoush. Boys, if you had to pick one of these two teams to remain inside the top 4 until the finals, who would you be sticking with?
Great question. I'll go the Wars.
I'd go the Raiders.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you go first. Why do you reckon the Milk?
Well, I think the Milk is starting to come into their own. They started the season really well, and then they sort of fell off a little bit. But I think they're finding their identity a little bit more than what they have in previous years. We've obviously seen them go weeks that have gone good, bad, but I feel like Jharal Fogarty is really steering that team around really, really well. I think having, what's his name back now? I'm having a blank.
Opposition.
Big forward.
Tarps.
Yeah, I think having him back in the side, that's really settled their middle, and they're starting to play better footy. But and I just think for something, I think we've spoken about them having a roller coaster each year, and this is their up year because this is their up year. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. So yeah, I'm going to go the Milk. It's going to be a tight game and against the Storm on Sunday because we know the relationship between the coaches. So yeah, I like the Raiders and how they're playing footy at the moment. They're playing with intent and they're playing really good footy.
They're scoring points too, which isn't something we can say about them normally. Second in the league in points for.
Well, there you go.
That was crazy when I first saw that.
They're scoring points. I think I talked about this on the offload with Fogs last week. Fogarty makes enough smart decisions while Canberra's chaos just rages around him. They're scoring a lot of points, a lot of unrepeatable points. Their good ball attack's still not great. And for me, that's probably where 2 reasons why I think they're different. This is why I thought it was such an interesting question because round 1, Raiders spanked the Wars 30-8.
Yeah, that's a great point.
In Las Vegas. Yeah. And I think the market is still adjusting to that a little bit. We got some really good value for the Warriors in the following weeks. The Wars' defence is better. They currently quietly rank as the 3rd best defensive team in the competition right now. And they've versed some bloody good teams and they've travelled a lot in that time and they've had a lot of injuries to deal with. Canberra have been pretty much full strength. Their defence is still a concern. Every other week, Manly put 40 on them. The Cowboys put 30 on them. They leaked 20 against the Titans 2 weeks ago. The Finns put 28 on them the week before. So they're winning games on the back of these insane highlight reel tries, which they do score more often than any other team because that's the way that Ricky's coached them and it's so good to watch. But yeah, for me, the Warriors' good ball attack also not super efficient right now, but they've got 2 young halves in there who are still figuring things out. And to me, when I watch the Warriors, they spend so much time in good ball. They do make a few errors right now because they're just picking the wrong options when they get there. But they're doing enough defence and they're spending enough time down there that it doesn't matter if they're only getting every second one right. And I think by season's end, if Metcalf and Chanel can stay on the field together, I think there's a bit more upside in the Warriors' attack.
Wars have the Cows, Dragons, Finns in the next 3 weeks. I'd say that's a favourable run.
Yep. And the Raiders have the Storm, the Bulldogs, the Titans, and then the Wars again.
Yeah, that'd be round 12, I think.
Round 12 Warriors
rematch.
Over in Auckland.
That's going to be great.
Yep.
Top 4 betting wise, you can take $2.50 for the Raiders, $3.75 for the Wars. So still some good value there for the punters. Before we jump into the multi-Oscar, Women's Origin fast approaching, and you're our leading women's game expert.
This Thursday.
Snuck up on us, eh?
It has.
Yeah, so the girls have been, I'm pretty sure both states have been holding some internal training camps.
Yeah, they have, yes, very much so.
From which the 2 squads have been picked. Queensland's team, I might let Jharal speak to it a little bit more, but there was a couple of surprises for me. Emma Manzelmann usually plays hooker off the bench. She's been left out. which was a surprising one for me. But I think they've made a smart choice in putting Lauren Brown at 9 and playing Destiny Brill at lock. Brill's a bit like the cheese, I think is a good example. She goes hell for leather, but her pass selection and decisions probably not as good as someone like Lauren Brown, who's very classy and experienced. Half, other name, I mean, there's a lot of girls. The NRLW 2025 season is going to be interesting. There's a lot of superstar marquee players that have been ruled out due to pregnancy this year already. So Ivani Polite and Shannon Marto for Queensland are out, and Millie Boyle and Caitlin Johnson are both out for the Blues as well. So a couple of big names. I think the Blues did a really good job. Really nice selection. John Strange is the Roosters club coach in the NRLW, and he's the new Blues coach this year. So he's made a couple of, I guess, surprise selections. Abby Church at fullback makes her debut. She's probably not as flashy as like a Tonegado or a Tegan Berry, but she's safe as houses. She gets through a lot of work. She's a bit of a Dylan Edwards kind of selection, I think. I like that. Jessie Southwell's back in the number 7 jumper. And then on the Sting was the other surprising one. I think a lot of chat online, people talking about Jamie Fressard got named. Some claims of club favouritism, which is understandable. John Strange just coaches these girls all year round. He knows their qualities better than anyone. Jamie Fressard is one of my favourite players in the NRL. She is an absolute dog. If there's a stink on Thursday night, I bet $1,000 that Jamie Fressard will be involved.
She'll be in there.
She can play fullback, centre, wing, 5'8". So yeah, I like the Blues here. I think they're paying about $1.85.
Yeah.
I'm all over that head to head. I like it.
Yeah, I like that game kicking off Magic Round for us as well. All right, we're going to come back. We'll jump into the multi and then we'll get out of here. You are listening to NRL Unpopular Opinions. It's time to pick the multi. We've only got one up for the year so far, and boy, oh boy, did we go close last week. 3 out of 4. Jharal, you got us off to an absolute ripping start. Broncos to win, big tick. Fogs came through with the goods. Roosters to win, big tick. I took the Knights under 16.5, got home. Oscar, we had this chat last week.
Yep.
And here we are again.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Can you just get one for
I cannot.
Do we want to go through the records?
When you're under the pressure, though, it starts to...
There's no pressure anymore. It's for me. It's all gone. I just lie there at night and I picture Taine Tuapiki being tackled into touch in Las Vegas, missing by inches in round 1, and I remember...
Sign of things to come, that was.
I remember the Raiders not passing in the backfield against the Cowboys a few weeks ago. I remember Latrell's
Are these
disallowed
nightmares
try.
or these good dreams?
And I remember the Sharks leaving 30 rugby league points out there against the West Tigers.
There he is.
In NRL round 8. So with that in mind, I'm now, what am I? 3
and 6.
3 and 6.
You got some serious ground to make up.
Yeah. And I'm just going to start. I'm going to kill your order, and I'm going to say up the Waz. I'm just going to
go the Waz.
Yeah, I'm relying on Mana this weekend to get my leg up, and the Waz love it over here in Bris Vegas. So yeah, taking the Waz against the Cows, I believe.
2 buckers you're getting for that one. Jharal, you're 5 and 4. Fogs 5 and 4. I'm 7 and 2.
Imagine that.
Ludicrous. Imagine that.
I feel like I might be home. I don't know. I've gone the crow.
Clip this.
I'm gonna be the first cab off the rank this week. I'm taking the Eels plus 5.5 against the Sharks, who are on a quick turnaround after playing on Sunday.
Did they play on Sunday?
You tell me. Oscar, you've already said you got the Waz. Jharal, you have a juicy one for us.
Yeah, I got a juicy one. A lot of outs for the Canterbury Bulldogs. I'm not going to take the Gold Coast Titans head to head, but I will take them plus 12.5 at $1.90. Sunday footy. The Gold Coast Titans turn up at Suncorp Stadium and on Sundays at Suncorp Stadium. So I've got a feeling that's going to be a very close game.
Daytime, is that the first game on Sunday?
1:50 p.m. That's when the Titans
AJ
do their
Brimson
best work.
on a dry track.
Yep.
Dry, I don't know.
Actually, yeah, it'll be a swamp.
I think it'll be dry.
No, they've just redone the field, boys. They've ripped up
And
the
is that
grass.
a good thing?
Yeah, they did. Anyway, look, I'm just trying to stick up for the greenskeepers there at Suncorp Stadium, but that's my leg this week, and it's going to get home.
Fogs has chimed in, the great man. He's with his Bronx, minus 3.5 against the Panthers. Good on you, Fogs.
Yep, nice.
And that rounds us out to a nice even $14.
Oh, jeez.
So you sprayed us for not having value at the
I
start.
like this one, boys. I like a bit of value.
Yes, very good.
14's a good number for me
I
as
won't
well.
touch. I was on it last week. I think that's why Sharks lost.
Me and my
I'm
wife
not
got
going to
married
touch.
on the 14th of September, so 14's our number.
Lucky
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
So you're going to get on.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
What's the plan for Magic Round this weekend, fellas?
Just full of shit and probably full of piss at some stage over the weekend. Plenty to do. I'll be at the Star actually on Thursday night for Fanland. Out there, so if you're not doing anything, come out and say hello. It goes all weekend. So
Signing autographs.
That's what I'll be doing.
Kissing
Yeah,
babies, all that good
well,
stuff.
there'll be no babies in the casino. If there was, we'll be calling. No, we'll be calling. We'll be calling for the parents to be in trouble. That's what we'll be doing. So that's what I'll be doing on Thursday night, and then a few things out at the races on Saturday, and then I'm off to Byron on Sunday.
Busy boy.
So busy boy.
Social man. You getting around it, Ryan?
I'll be at the races Saturday as well.
Oh,
I'm not
really?
going to be at Magic Round this year, but
I'll see you at the races then, won't I?
we will.
Eagle Farm.
I'll be in there for
Eagle
it.
Farm, yeah.
yep,
Guineas
yep.
Day, up and about.
Send me a tip.
You don't want that. you just don't.
How about you give us one?
Yeah, just one. That's all we want.
And then we'll return
Give
the
me
favour.
one, please.
Oscar, anything on, mate?
No, I'm a new father. I'm a new father this year. So, yeah, I was just thinking on the drive in last year. I was
Shit
like
face.
remembering my beautiful wife like peeling me off the bed on Sunday at like 12:30 to go back in there for the third or fourth day of festivities. I'm feeling like I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm feeling like something very unhealthy.
I feel like you've got to build yourself up for Magic Round. Like there's people coming from everywhere and they've been...
It's an endurance test.
Yeah, they've been
Yeah.
ready for this, you know what I mean? Like people have put this in the calendar. It's been a couple of weeks coming and they've probably stayed off the piss for the last couple of weeks waiting for this weekend. If you just take this away from Queensland or Brisbane, hell, seriously.
Won't
You
happen.
can't.
Won't happen.
This place is the bee's knees for it.
The cauldron.
At the Cauldron, Texan Street.
All right, let's get out of here. We'll be back next week to recap Magic Round. Thanks, boys.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website